Hello there guys, this is Libby, otherwise known as Silverlief, and today we're back working on this journal, as I have lovingly begun to call it, Ernest. And we're going to be adding a closure and then working on some of the inside. The closure is inspired by SevenPlaza, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently to how she showed it in her video recently. But it is very much inspired by her, using clasps for suspenders. She did one and then had the other one attached to the journal. Like the other, she had one and then attached the other end of her frame journal. Sorry, I'm struggling with words today, but that's okay. I'm gonna do both ends of mine with the clasps. That way I can fully remove it. Yeah, that's how I would rather do it. I tried this once and forgot that my sewing machine does not have, I don't have any appropriate colored thread for my sewing machine, so what I'm going to do instead is hand sew it, which requires me to go and get my embroidery floss, or I have my threads on hand. Yeah, so I'm gonna hand sew it instead. So I'm just gonna be 1 second whilst I grab my threads. Okay, so I'm back. I have my embroidery thread. Not embroidery, sewing thread here. I do have embroidery thread if I need it. Trying to see which colour might work best. Maybe this one. I don't have the right shade of green. I don't have like a vibrant green in this set. I likely do in my embroidery floss, but that's thicker and I'd like this to be nice and thin. I also have just a straight up black, but I don't think this is black, so I'm gonna go with the grey, and I need a small needle. Oh, hello. Sorry, I was checking the eye. It looked like it was cracked, but it isn't. And I don't need a big piece of my ribbon because it's just going to go between these 2 points. Now, I don't want it tight, and I obviously don't want it like to be able to open like this. I think I want it to be just a bit bigger than the spine is width-wise. That way, if it starts to gaiter, there is some room in the spine. And I need a little bit extra so that I can tie it around, sew it around the clasp. Oh, well, I just lost that. The elastic just came flying off. Turn it over. So I'm thinking I want this much give in it. And I'm just going to need a little bit extra to loop through. So I'm thinking maybe up to about here. The first one will be easy. I don't even have to really worry about how much room is left. It's the second part that will be a little bit more tricky, but that's fine. 1 second, sorry. About that. Okay. I have my needle. I have my thread. I can find the end of this one. That would be great. I think I've used this grey one before. I've used lots of the other ones. I like using very thin sewing thread. Probably more than enough. Probably have smaller scissors for this, but that's fine. So how is everybody? I hope everyone's doing well. had a very long work week, which is why I haven't had a video out in a few days. Chaos at work and then long shifts and family things, which were nice, but being out in the heat very much kills me very fast. Ooh, hello. So then I have some beeswax here. I like to use that, especially on my thinner threads. It helps keep the threads from knotting up where you don't want them to knot up. So how I'm going to start is I'm just going to do a very tiny amount here so that it's nice and folded over. And then when I put it through the loop, it'll be neat. But it doesn't need to be a lot, just a teeny tiny bit. And I'm going to try not to actually go through this side. I'm just trying to pick up the threads underneath. Just enough to catch it and hold it down. Oh, hello, I lost a thread already. That's smart, Libby. It caught on something. So much for trying to keep this small and neat. I have to cut everything, I just need to trim this excess here. I mean, you won't really see it when I'm done. It got caught on something. Do I know what it got caught on? Nope. I swear, I know what I'm doing with hand sewing. I do not know what happened there, though. So I'm just going to quickly sew this up. Doing this, I like to do small tacks, so as little as possible will show on the other side. I was going to do this on my sewing machine. You know what? I actually prefer hand sewing. I don't really enjoy using my sewing machine. I love the process of sewing. Fine with me. Not that I have any actual issue with my sewing machine. It's useful. I just find it very therapeutic to hand sew. Realistically, this doesn't even need to go all the way across. It can just be tacked. It's getting caught on the edge, that's why. Yeah, it can just be tacked because it's not the end. Oh my. Something else is going to be sewn, you know. Just neaten up this edge. Bring that off in a minute. And then I want, this is the top of the clasp. I'm going to put it through there first. So through the clasp from the top down. That way this side is hidden. If it was the other way, it would not be hidden. Similar thing. I like to start hidden underneath. How I usually sew. That way I don't have any loose ends. Yep. And I'm just going to gently tack all the way across. And again, I'm not trying to go through all the layers of this ribbon. I'm trying to keep it So you've got the top layer here. I'm trying to keep it through these bits underneath. I don't know if that makes sense. But you know, made up of many different layers of thread. I'm trying to keep it through the ones that you're not going to see on the outside. Is what I'm trying to say. Can still be nice and sturdy doing it that way. It just means that, oh, hello. How did that happen? Let me get you through. Yeah, it just means that the outside is going to look much neater. So I'm going to do this one on camera, then I'll do the other one off camera. Yeah, hand sewing is a happy place for me. I can't do it too much anymore. My hands like to lock up. But when I can, I will, because it's just very therapeutic. I've like hand sewn clothes before and stuff. I'd much rather hand sew than reach for my sewing machine. I will say though, I started using my sewing machine for sewing on paper and stuff. Now that is nice. How do I keep doing that? That's what I must have done before. I accidentally hooked it around the main ribbon. I'm just gonna go back a tiny bit so that it locks it in place, and then I'll knot it. How's it looking? Looks good. What I'm excited for with this clasp, well, these clasps, because there's two of them, is using them for dangles off of the actual loop here. That'll be fun. Because I don't really have anywhere yet on this journal to put like charms and stuff. And I do really enjoy finding and piecing together good charms for a journal. If you saw the journal I did for my mum, you probably noticed that because I did so much on that spine. I did end up not doing it all on camera because wow, is trying to make charms on camera hard. But... okay, so have a little snippy snip. There we go. Nice and very sturdy, nice and strong. Love it. So then I'm going to clip this on the front, roughly where I want it, which is like almost in line with the journal log. With the journal plate, sorry. And then also like that. And realistically, even if I did use all of this, that's still about where I want it. So I'm going to quickly get this other side done off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, and here we are. I love the way that turned out. I think it looks gorgeous. From the way that these clasps are to how beautiful this is. And I think it goes really well with the journal, like with the different tones in it. So how this will end up being is, well, not even end up, this is how it can be now, is on one side here, and on the other side. I'll try and line it up as best I can, but I mean, is that ever going to be perfect? I don't know. Please. Say somewhere like that. And then it'll keep it from opening fully. You know, it can still sit nicely. It's not squished closed. I really like that. And as I say, adding some dangles on here with some charms would be wonderful. So, okay. Love that. And then I can just take off one side and freely access it. Yeah, very happy with that. So, I didn't have any plan for what else to do today. But when do I, really? I usually come into these with, I want to do this one little thing, and then we'll see where it goes. And lately my videos have been sort of, the humidity got to me, but it's quite a nice day out today. It's not too hot, so. I did have an idea, actually, of something that I do want to do. I'm just going to tuck this away for now. Oh, come back out. But I'm not sure which page I want to do it on. Maybe one of these thicker pages would be best. If anyone is familiar with Natasha over at Treasure Books, a video of hers, I watched it when it first came out, but it popped back up again for me recently, where she makes a book of scraps. And I really like that idea, but I thought that instead of just gluing down the scraps, what if we used them to make like a flippy-floppy page? So instead of them being fully glued down, they're anchored in, not anchored, what's the word? I can't think of what that word is. But they can, you know, hinged. That's the one. They're hinged, so we can open them up, you know, have some going up, some going left and right and down. I thought that could be really fun. And I always have so many scraps lying around. Especially like scrapbook scraps. Scrapbook scraps. Say that 10 times fast. This is my box of strips. But I don't know if many of these will be wide enough for what I have in mind. But like, you know, this kind of paper. And then if I was to, this is just an example. But if I was to cut it down, however big, say here, make it just into a square, and then we can open it up, and there'll be place to write on here, but then also I'll make a place to write on the back of here. I think that could be fun. And as I said, I think using one of these thicker pages would be best for that. Yeah, and then on the back, some of these are double-sided. On the back, I could add some, like, nice paper just to write on. So I have some lined paper and stuff. Maybe some ledger, you know. I think that could be fun. Could be a nice way to, like, collage, but still have usable spaces. Because most of my scrapbook paper that I have scraps of are very patterned. You can't really write on it, but if we make it so that you can. And then I can cover up the hinge, you know, with paper underneath for writing. I think that could work. So I think that might be what I do, which requires me. And do we want to do it on this first one? Do we want to cover up the purple? Yeah, we'll do it on the purple. I'm going to look through this box, and I have another box of scraps somewhere. I mean, endless scraps, right? I might even have some out. I do. This isn't a box, so. Find some that will work with this journal. But I think that could be fun. A nice way to get in some, like, hidden writing spots. As I say, I'm not sure if I have much in here that will work, because they're much thinner pieces. These I was saving to make, like, weaving out of, like, weaved pages out of. Like, effectively make a new piece of paper out of them. But there might be some that are thicker. Or I could be very unlucky and the first one that I pulled out is the only thick one. I have some vellum here too. A vellum map. Find a way to use that. That's nice. This is thicker. Could that work? Maybe. I don't know if I have much in here that's actually going to do it for me. You could. Not for this journal, at least. I have a lot of, like, mystical looking things. That one will work. You know, magic and mushrooms and that sort of thing. Do another piece of that. Not that he has to be against having mushrooms and stuff in his. He could like mushrooms and all that stuff. And these are some of my bigger pieces. Oh, some of these are very big. Some of these aren't even really scraps. Oh my. This might not be the one that I meant to grab, but I have it, so. And we can do some of these plainer ones and then just decorate the outside too. I'm fine with that. Well, that's a few for right now. She says as she keeps digging through. Alright, I have a few I can start with. So I'm gonna figure out how big I want them, size them up, and then see about covering the backs of them. So, pop that up there for a minute. I have a couple of extra pieces that I just grabbed. I'm not sure which of these I want to use. I think maybe this thicker one, but I can keep this lying around. I will use this. I'm going to cut off. You can see there's the top of the scrapbook paper there. I don't need too many pieces. It's not a huge piece of paper. What I would like, however, is to trim this down. Grab my Fiskars. I'm just going to get it so that that top piece is off. Oh, wait. What am I doing? Let me take off that little bit that I folded because it's making it wonky donkeys. So I don't want to take off too much of this. I like that it's a thicker piece. But just like that. Just enough to get rid of the hole. And then, why does my page look 5? Let's do about that much. Yep. And then it doesn't need to be a big hinge. I think I want this one at the top. Where would that go to? Round about here. I'm thinking if I was to glue that there, then this one can flip out and still be written on. Could even have them like overlaying one another maybe. So like this next one could lay over here. Not this big obviously, but then it could flip down and then this could flip out maybe. Would be fun. How big I want this. Just adding layers to it could be fun, is what I'm thinking. You there. You over here. I would want whatever's down at the bottom here, obviously not to cover, so I want that height. Would make that work if I cut it down some. Use like some washi tape or something to hold these pieces down for me. Sorry, I want to get rid of bottom, I guess. About there. Yeah, very fun week at work. Freezer broke down. I work in a bakery. A freezer broke down, and then that was chaos. And then we've had workmen in and out because we've got like a remodel happening, which is probably something with that is probably what happened to make the freezer go down. But just been one of those weeks, really. Okay, so I want you to flip out this way since that one's going that way, maybe. Yes. Again, I'm just folding it the way that I don't want it to go first so I can see how big it needs to be, and then I'll fold it the other way. It's going to be a very eclectic page because I'm just finding things that sort of go with the theme. I'm not trying to make them match one another, if that makes sense. Might need to trim this one down just a tiny bit. I have my trimmer just off the side here, so. Yep. Yep. I am going to grab a little bit of washi. I think the washi tape will help. In fact, I have some from last time laying around on here. Just so that I can get an idea of what I want, where I want it. Yeah, and then with the heat has killed me almost every day this week. So I come home and I just sleep because when my body gets hot, that's what happens. It acts like it's got sunstroke or something. Like, that's genuinely how it feels. Like this. Oh, the washi tape idea isn't working at all, but you know. It was a good try, Libby. It was a good try. I think it's because it's older tape that's been sat out, so I don't think it's actually as sticky. Then I would like this. I want this sun, which means it's going to be a flip up, because I want to keep this sun on show. Flip up, he said, with. I think this guy might be a little too wide. Right, just a little bit smaller. Next line then. Oh, here, aren't I? Lift you up. Maybe more underneath. Right. Okay. That's the first layer. One under this way that can flip up. there. I am aware that I am making way more scraps doing it like this, but that's okay. There, that's fine. And once I have all of these main pieces down, I'll put one flat piece underneath. That makes sense. So I'm gonna try and, well, maybe not one because some of these be. I'm gonna cover up these bits, is what I'm trying to say. That works. Come off. Sorry, washi, but you're not needed right this second. One second. Okay, sorry about that. I went to grab just some little bits and pieces here that we can use to cover up the backs. So I have some vintage ledger. I have some fake ledger, which I was hoping I would have enough to put on here, but I do not. Unless I trim it, but we'll see. Because this one has words, so putting like this on, it's not really going to cover it. Although, that's not too bad. I just need a bigger piece. So I have some of that paper, and then I have the lined paper, and then this is white, so I'm probably going to distress it up, but just some of my bullet journal. It got a bit crumpled, so it's in the scrap pile. So I'm going to back these first, figure out where I want them, and lay them, and glue them down, and then I'll add in extra little pieces here and there. This is the most important one to cover the back of, because the rest of them, I believe, are blank on the back. Yes, at least the rest are the ones that we've done something with so far. So I might actually use this bullet journal paper for this one. Cover this solely because it's very thick. It's much thicker than my other paper. So, glue stick, glue stick. Apologize if I'm a little slower today than usual. I've hit that point in my week where I'm just done mentally. Which sounds silly because it's a Monday, but it's the end of my work week right now, so. And I purposely did it up to where this hinges, although I did it just a little too. Because I don't want to cover the hinge with this, but redo that hinge with the paper there. Yep. I'm going to trim this down with the scissors first, and then I'll trim it down with my knife after. So that's one. I've never done multiple flips on a page. I've done like a single one, like a door, you know, or a pocket that has space hidden behind it to write on, that sort of thing. But I've never done it like this with a bunch. But as I say, I just saw Natasha's video the other day and I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. But I want to make it so that it's interactive and, you know. Yeah. Making more scraps. I definitely want this ledger on one of them. Maybe just this plain boy. Let's say we can decorate them and stuff. They don't gotta be plain. I'm gonna try and cut as close to the piece as I can with this one because I love this ledger and I don't want to waste a piece. And we have some lined paper. And I want it actually lined like this way. So. Did I completely forget where everything on this is supposed to go? Yup, I should have taken a picture. I did not take a picture. And I could too, because my camera setup is not attached to my phone. But it isn't. So, you know what? All's well that ends well. Go. Not very straight. That's okay. I'm trying to embrace imperfection with this. Okay. That's the unique piece that I have. So this other one, I think I might just, that's not happening. Just use the plane again. I put my ruler somewhere, but where is that somewhere? I do not know. Give me a second and I shall find it. Well, I couldn't find the metal one that I wanted, but this will do for now. I've been moving a few things around in my craft room, and I haven't finished rearranging after that, if that makes sense. You know, when it gets a bit messed up. Everything is a bit everywhere right now. I just haven't had the time or energy to finish it, so hopefully tomorrow. I have a couple of days off, so thinking maybe tomorrow I can dedicate some time to getting this place under control again. Okay, so there's one. I'll probably do... Oh wait, no, I'm going to cover that up. It doesn't matter. I was going to say what I'm going to do is mitre those. It won't matter because once they're down, I'm going to cover them. Really like this paper. It feels very nautical. I had it lying around from the book I did the other day. The Deja Vu book that mirrored this one that we're working on now. It was a gift for somebody else. I was inspired. I was like, okay, if I was going to make my book anyway, and I was excited about this book, so I was like, why not? There's another thing, but that's all right. Ledger. Have what? One more. This is the one with the dot grid. a tiny bit here that needs to... Get it? I got it. Nice. Okay. Now to see if I can remember where I wanted all of these pieces. I know this guy was up at the top here. But right now I'm just going to use my glue stick because I'm going to be putting paper over the tabs anyway, as I keep saying. So pop you in here, up to the top. But I just want to be conscious of the fact that it is going to need to close. Like that. I might need to trim this down a little bit here. Yeah. Where are my snippies? Probably not the best way to do that, Libby, but it's the way you chose to do it. Okay, so there's one. Folds out. The big one was the fold down, right? Was it from the bottom? It wasn't from the bottom. From there. Because it fully overlaid that. Nope. Stop. What are you doing? We just said it wasn't from the bottom, Lib. Okay. There's that one. And I think this guy along the bottom. Nope. Guy was a drop down. You along the bottom. Where were you? Did I have you like... Well, you get to go there. This one definitely fits there, so it's going there whether it was supposed to or not. You go here. Then I guess that just went underneath or over the top somehow. We shall see. I wanted my sun down at the bottom. This goes up, that goes out, this goes down, that goes out. Yeah? Yeah. Was this underneath? And if it wasn't, can it be? Sure, why not? Yeah, it's like a double opening. No, don't like that. Do not like that one. And this can go under here too. But for now we'll put it over, why not? Hey, I'm doing my weaving thing, like I said. I said that's what those scraps were for, and now it's kind of happening. I feel like we're missing one here. Feel when it's open. Yeah, okay. No, that's fine, because I want space underneath too. It's not like I want this entire thing covered. Yeah. Yep. And then we can put like a little focal point here. This is going to be covered anyway. It's not going to be the purple paper. All right. You try and get up as many of these as I can. So I can start covering. And I might just do a collage in the background. I think that could be fun, actually. I have lots of random papers and stamps and stuff. Almost like a masterboard, I guess. 1 second whilst I grab a couple of things. Okay, so to begin with, I'm just going to layer some of this tape specifically over where these joints are, just to better help it all stick. I don't care how it looks. In fact, if some of this ends up showing in the end, that'd be kind of cool. Mostly just keep this from coming up. Oh, hello. You might get your time in the sun piece of paper. You might. You able to fit there? Just about, actually. That was like the perfect height. Might need to trim. Or I can just fold that over. It doesn't bother me. If it bothers me on the other side, I'll cover it, but you can barely even see it. Tape. Tape. This stuff lasts much longer than like washi tape does. Why I'm using it instead of like washi tape or something. Adding some texture too, which I wasn't expecting, but that's fine. I really like this stuff. I feel like it is a good base for a collage. I'll allow it. But I'm gonna add just a little bit here for the fun of it, because then we can build on top of this, and we can leave parts of it shown. So. Feel one. Sorry, that piece was curling a bit too much. Close that piece. It gets a little thick when it starts curling in on itself. Okay. We'll start with that. And I can start throwing in just random bits and pieces. I have some gold paper. I really like that stuff. I think that's a bit of a book. Like old brittle book paper, that'll do. Homemade paper. I'll get some textures going in here too. Well, I'm very neutral at the moment, it seems. Fine, that's fine. I'm actually going more for texture than anything. Oh, I want this little piece. This is one of my favorite pieces of scrapbook paper, and I can't for the life of me find the book again. That's sad. I'm going to start with some of these pieces and keep building up. That will work. I don't know if we're going to finish this today because I'm already at 50 minutes. I don't know how that happened. Oops. Very brittle paper. That came apart without me even trying. Oops. Wrong side, but that's fine. It's still shiny. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to finish this today, but I'm going to make a good start on it. Nothing else, I'll get this collage started and then we can work on decorating these outer pages. Probably tomorrow. I say I'm off. So. allows me a bit more time to do stuff. Spider webs. I have no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing right now, other than putting things where I want them. Paper. This one specifically, the gold does not want to stay down. I might end up having to come in and use my glitter glue. That's fine. Well, that ended up smaller than I wanted, but fine. Yeah, I'm not trying to make this. Usually if I'm doing like a masterboard or something, I'll do it all straight edges, but I don't want that for this. I want this to feel not messy, but not pristine either. I know what I want. My brain is not here tonight. That's probably very obvious. Kind of want that way around. I might add some like washi tape here and there too if I can find one that I want to use. And I'm okay with some of the purple coming through too. I don't need to cover it up entirely. I did want to use some of this, but I'm going to need to get my Barely Art glue out for that. Green. I don't know what that's doing in there. It's a envelope I made quite a while back now, actually. I had a lot of like ready to go fodder for what's called collaging, but I've since put other things on top. Oh, that's nice. That's for bookbinding for on the spine. I can add a bit of that in, but it's gonna have to go on top of something else. Okay, I just want some texture in here. I have embroidery floss in there, I just saw. I don't know what's going on with that little guy. It became a catch-all at some point. A little piece of book edge. Where are the scissors? Here they are. I don't know if this is going to go down with my glue stick. It's messy work tonight. Very messy work tonight. Nope. Get back. Fine until you moved it. Oh, my fingers are coated now. Maybe I should have done those pieces last. Need some book page with actual writing on, and I do have a little thing of that somewhere around here, so I will grab that in a minute. I think it'll look good. Where's my little folder of book page? Here we are. Nice thin page. What are you? No idea. Just a piece I have. I have some Shakespeare somewhere. I'll grab some of that. Very much like my Shakespeare. I have some old poems too. Your Shakespeare gone. Yeah. Not Shakespeare, but you can come out. No. You're not, but you can come out. I swear I had Shakespeare in here. Didn't I have it out the other day? Random book pages. Well, I did have it. That's fine. I'll find it and we'll use it again at some point. Loved this old brittle paper. It's from like an old, I think dictionary. I think it's a dictionary, not a thesaurus. I have both. Rock or frivolity. Frivolity. That works. Bit of you, I have a bit of you. You. I'm going to use these two other pieces, but I'm going to wait until the end because that got messy fast. Hollow. Oh, well, I cut right through hollow, but that's fine. Hooskow. Alright, slang for jail. This one's the thesaurus then. Because it's got a bunch of extra words with it. I have this weird little cutout that someone sent me. It was with some ephemera, and then that was part of it. Maybe I'll stamp something on that in the end. I know some people really prefer bigger pieces when they're doing this sort of thing. And maybe bigger pieces look better. I'm not 100%. I like using lots of little pieces. Especially when they really are just my scraps. Now we have the littler bits fill in. Where was the other bit of this? There. See them both together. Oh. Then what I might do is add some watered down white over the top. Maybe not white. Maybe white. I haven't decided. Just to knock it back a bit. Try and tone it down, I guess. Put these on there. Do. Come on, let go of my fingers. Thank you. That piece though, because it says something not so nice on it, and I would rather not accidentally put that in my book one day, so. Come on. I know you will stick, just need to not stick to my fingers more. Damn. Please. I think what could be cool with some of this, the spine stuff for the book binding, come on, might be to dye it. Maybe with tea, coffee, or even just coloured. I think that might look cool. Oh, and you are all sticky and gross, so you can also. Don't really want you, is the problem. But I also don't want you sticky and gross all over my desk. There. Over there. That's bit. So I'm going to leave this to dry. And as I say, when I come back to it, I'm likely going to go, like, almost dry brush, but not, I don't know how to explain, to knock it back. I don't know if I'm going to use just white, or if I'll mix up a colour, or what, but just to make it more tonally the same down in the background. I know what I'm trying to say. Do the words come out? No, they do not. But yes, I really like that. This definitely needs to dry. I can go in with some washi tape and stuff too. My desk is an absolute mess right now. But also I need to come back and, obviously decorate up these bits as well. But for now, I'm going to call it. Mostly, I'd keep going, but I've hit over the hour and I don't want to be too long with this. I know some people really don't like it when you're that long. So today we did the closure, which I'm really happy with, and then we've started on this flippy-floppy everything goes everywhere page. Yeah, I definitely need it all to dry before I start messing with it, because there's a lot of glue lying around in here. But I'll have a think more on how I want to decorate up the flaps and stuff. And then what I do want to do is, once I've knocked this back with some paint, I want to make some writing spots on top of here too, which I might, if I go with the white paint, I might do more, like, larger, what's the word? More opaque patches so that we can have writing spots underneath too. That makes sense. So this is all background and less, all there in your face. Basically, we're going to build up, if that makes sense. But for tonight, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all have an absolutely lovely evening, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much.